3 minutes, that means you have 180 seconds to kick it like soccer balls, double yes, y'all. I do this for the love, unconditional. Let's start with my city, the Mudville. Catch dreads in the scrapers or the Coupe de Villes, or at the bus stop and sag fitted real low. Trying to catch a bus 4-0 to either drop them at the mall or Delta College, where they be posted in the quad, forget the knowledge. Weeknights be spent at the bar and grill. Big shouts to Clef Notes, LeJay kept it trill. Movie theater hot spots Friday nights, downtown lit up like Vegas lights. And we known to stay fresh, 209 go hard, plus we do it the best, like Cali Junkies, New Era DJs, Twins Entertainment, EHP, hey, what up R&D, Local Express Tour, once your joints drop, they gon' blow for sure. We the city of gods, that means we incredible, we known to hold a movement down like incredible. Take I-5 or 99, exit Stockton, the city on the grind. One of the most dangerous cities to live, highest unemployment, so you know we catching bids. The kids got a dropout rate that's not so great. Percentage wise, we close to 58. So that means more than half are barely learning the math or developing the skills to choose a career path. Worst city to live, said Forbes magazine, but they don't know about our hip-hop scene. Most take us for granted, negative view us, but we cool like the delta that runs through us.
What's up, everybody? You guys are tuning into the squad.
Squad. Oh, we was already live on visuals.
Voice, yes, the voices. Now on Keenan Stockton.
Yeah, I'm a clapper.
Hercules.
Yes.
So you guys should reintroduce ourselves. You got me, Rane.
Are we doing our resumes this time?
No.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
No
you know.
way.
Okay. Oh, well, I spoke. I'm Nicole Tobias, a.k.a. Chef Tobias. Yes.
What's up? I'm Kimberly Wormsley, also known as Live with Kimberly. How are you guys doing this evening?
Yo, it's Ches Day with Chillin' with Ches, coming at you.
While we on the squad.
Okay.
So, hey, what's up, everybody? You guys, we're going to be bringing you guys a few topics today.
They're going to be fierce, hot, bold, controversial a little bit.
Intense.
I
All
hope y'all
those
ready.
things.
I hope y'all ready.
All those good things.
All right. So I am so excited to be here with you all tonight. Thank you so much for coming out. I miss you guys. So happy to see you, hang out with you. So let's get this party started, right? All right. So we have a few good topics tonight. I am so excited to bring you here to our local San Joaquin Valley. All right. So let's get started. The first one. Look, it's my radio voice.
How you guys been, by the way?
How you
The
been?
rain is crazy.
Happy belated Mother's Day,
Happy
Auntie.
belated
Yeah.
Mother's
Did
Day.
anybody get like rained in? Did you get trapped from the puddles?
There's a
like
point
that?
at like 3:00 today. It was raining so hard. I almost messaged like, are we really gonna? We going out in this
Yeah.
craziness?
Yeah.
Like, how are we postmen with this
Yeah.
with the squad? Like, is that the
Right.
level?
Hammer Lane was completely flooded out this afternoon,
Yeah,
where they
yeah.
actually closed the road. And this morning, I was in San Jose, and I was driving, and late, of course, because like I'm never on time. And I was like, "What the hey?" It was not even raining, y'all. It was like water just pouring out of the sky. It was crazy. I'm like, what's going on?
Too much.
It is May 19th?
Almost,
May, yes,
on.
May 19th.
3/4 of the way.
Crazy.
It's like, oh my goodness. I saw roads get closed off over by Walmart. You know, the tunnel that goes down under the tracks.
Yep.
Well, I guess they were trying to detour traffic from one side of the street to the other side of the street, and they couldn't get a handle on it. And literally, they were like head to head. Traffic was like stuck. because the cars couldn't move this way
Right.
because they were backing up, and cars couldn't move that way because they were already backed up. And so it was pretty intense to see how everybody was getting trapped. Everybody was getting trapped in their areas. Puddles were just ruining cars. Somebody lost their car after having it for 20 years. So shout out LeJay. I'm so sorry to hear that. He had posted, after 20 years, but his car was underwater, literally. The car door comes up here, up to the windows.
Right.
Oh wow, that's horrible.
Sad to see. So I hope you guys are being safe out there. I saw people out there in kayaks. That was
Yeah,
kind of cool. But
that was
we would do those things. Yeah.
Right. But y'all, did you guys see the snow? Like the little hail drops on.
Yes.
I just I literally was just looking at that earlier when we were out there. My buddy posted that same thing. Posted a picture. Nick Johnson posted a picture of like the floods and then snow, and I was like, "Is he back in Seattle?" Like,
no, it was happening here, right off of Pacific Avenue.
Yeah. Richard Slezak was just talking about it last night.
This is ridiculous. It's May.
Wow.
It's California. We can't handle this, y'all.
So we got Chris Rosio saying, "Hey ladies," Paul's tapping in. Good evening, Stockton. And Chris Rosio says, "Good evening, Michael Leach." Hey, what's up, bro? He's saying, "Good evening, ladies." So we got
Good evening, y'all. Thanks for tuning
watching.
in.
And on my end, I have a shout out to Paula Shell, who just waved at us.
Happy
Hey.
Sunday night.
Yes.
Ain't no Sunday night football, but it's gonna be coming soon.
Right.
So we're gonna jump into a few things. We're gonna talk about the Met Gala. We're gonna talk about a concert that's coming here. It's a free concert by the rapper Common, and you guys have seen him also in movies. He's acted alongside very many artists, to include Alicia Keys and Smoking Aces and things of that nature. So he's been doing work with Mary J. Blige, so a lot of his famous songs. So Common, he's coming to Stockton. There's going to be a concert here at UOP, I believe. Is it UOP?
No, it's going to be
at the
Civic
Civic Auditorium.
Yeah.
Civic Auditorium.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to touch a little bit on women's rights. Women's rights to choose, what's for their rights for their bodies.
Right.
And then one other thing is about the vaccinations. There's a lot going on. School's getting started for a lot of the little ones, and a lot of parents are, on the fence as to whether they want to start giving their children vaccinations due to the links that they've had with illnesses and sicknesses, which then become lifelong issues. So do they really want to do that to their child?
Right.
So we got some things to talk about. If you guys have anything you want to tap in, we're looking forward to hearing your guys' comments. Ryan Cooper, the whole gang is there, he's saying. Yep, that's why we're the squad.
That's why we are the squad. Woohoo.
Yes.
And it is difficult to get us all in here, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, our
That's
schedules
why
are,
y'all
like,
never
super
get a
scheduled.
real warning. Because we don't know until action time
never
when
know.
it's
Right.
solidified.
I was at a birthday party in Berkeley at the Children's Museum, and I was eating cake. It was good, too. And my daughter, she said, "Ma, don't you got to do something?" I was like, "Oh, snaps, I do."
Right.
I was like, "We got to go."
Right.
And I grabbed a couple of lollipops, and I grabbed some water.
You couldn't have grabbed none of that Humboldt fog, though?
No, I couldn't do that one. That one I couldn't do. No, I couldn't do that one. No.
No, I know.
I wish
know.
I could. In fact,
I know how much that
I put it on the
runs.
back of my phone right here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Right.
In case you guys don't know what that is, it is goat cheese.
It's a blue goat cheese. Two of my favorite cheeses
Healthier,
combined.
it's a healthier cheese.
It's expensive.
And it's healthier.
It's very expensive.
So like,
It's organic, made by hand. It's like a little
Yes.
mom and pop type setup that they have. The
Yes.
cheese
I hear it's
artisans.
good on the stomach.
Right.
It's good on the body. People, I actually just recently saw a story in the news while I was at my grandparents' house. On the news, they went in and were following the families of a couple children who couldn't eat regular cheese and milk products. They ended up coming across goat's milk, goat cheese, and to help with like seizures and
Yes.
all kinds of different
Goat's milk is closer
illnesses.
to
Yes.
human breast milk
Very
than
Yes.
cow.
And it is.
There you go.
And I had about 40 pounds of it
Oh, man.
on Wednesday, and you could go on to Chef Tobias Cooks, and you could follow me on IG, and you can see where I chopped all of it. I had to
That looks like
carefully,
cake, too.
I had to carefully cut it like with hot water,
Yeah.
and I had to use special shears to like
Yeah.
get that nice little cut on it because we fed close to 7,000 people
Oh,
on
wow.
Thursday. So yeah, all the cheese
Shout
went.
out. I'll be interested to taste some Chez's macaroni and cheese and with that specialty cheese. Wink, wink, hint, hint.
I'd be more than happy to throw some Humboldt Fog into some mac and cheese, but
let me tell you about it. Yes. I'll get you some. How about that?
Listen.
yeah, I mean, I've gone to 1 year, because my brother and sister both live out in San Diego. Shout out, they're in the Navy. 1 year I went to celebrate my birthday and literally just spent like $200 in a cheese shop. Like that's cheese is my thing. Like
mine too. And that's why
y'all ever want to give me a
along.
present? Cheese.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why we get along so well. Because one of the things on my list is if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to purchase cheese. No, for real.
Can I get a stock and just cheese?
Seriously,
is that a thing?
serious, because with cheese, like yesterday, I went to the grocery store and I purchased 5 different cheeses. And then the lady, I looked at the total and I was like, I think I'm about to put like 3 of these cheeses back. You know, because I had some smoked Gouda.
Oh,
girl, let me try to tell you.
Apples, some wine.
And I got the smoked Gouda just to eat, not to like cook it with anything. You know, so I was like, okay, well, maybe not this week on the smoked Gouda, you know. So,
but next time.
Well,
next time.
While everybody else is kind of holding off on the smoked Gouda, let me show y'all a few things so you guys can get with us on this Met Gala, because this Met Gala fashion was something else. Y'all take a look at this. Y'all can see what we got going on. We have a few people that we're talking about. We have Zendaya as Cinderella. We have Billy Porter with his wonderful wings.
Mother God.
Come through.
Kim Kardashian over there dripping wet. So Kim Kardashian's in the dripping wet. That's the title of her dress. You have Lady Gaga up there. We're going to talk about Lady Gaga's outfit that went from 1 to 3.
Didn't she? Was it 3? I thought it was more than that.
Cardi B.
No, I think it was 3. Oh, Cardi came through. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's just say this. Cardi, when she first came, I wasn't really clear. I was like, is that the Jennifer Lopez Cell? Remember the Cell movie she did a while ago? Okay, so you have to see this movie that Jennifer Lopez done like over 10 years ago, The Cell, and that kind of looks like it.
Oh yeah,
but that's a take.
Cell.
Isn't that a take on what's her name? The singing girl, the mermaid,
Ariel.
What's the octopus?
Oh, you mean
Ursula?
Ursula.
Oh,
is that
so?
I don't know.
Well, you know, it was the whole theme was for her dresses dripping wet. So basically, they wanted her to look like she was coming out of the shower, out of a pool, out of something steamy and hot, dripping wet. You know, and that's in so many contexts because she's dripping wet in so many ways, you know, for men too.
Girl,
so,
she pulled that off.
Yeah.
She was
I love
raw.
How they have the little like crystals that were dangling from her, from it to act as the water drops.
Yes.
And, it was just really nice and how it's form fitting. They showed a lot of behind the scenes. If you guys go to YouTube and stuff, you guys can see a lot of behind the scenes of how all these actors and actresses and all of the artists got into their gear. And so they really had
It's an hours-long process.
Oh my gosh, they had
and she was
fully
fully closed from head to toe,
fully
and
clothed,
made it look
that she was half naked.
yes.
Yeah.
Hats off to them.
I mean, they all, I mean, these dresses, I think that they really have leveled up the industry and the look, the appearance, the viability. I'm sorry, but that pink that Lady Gaga rocked was the bomb. And I don't know. I need to get back to Billy. Let's get back to Billy.
You know what?
Let's get back to Billy.
Let's talk about Mother God.
Let's get back to Mother God.
Okay, listen. Billy has been on an all-time high in his career. He has just been flawless in every single way. I know when he got that invitation to the Met Gala, he probably passed out. He probably
trying to get that thing off
and woke up and saw gold. You know, he probably went to the designer and said, "I want gold,
and I must be God.
Yeah,
I must." Did y'all see how he came through that?
Yes.
Did y'all see how he came
You
through?
can see he's got 4 different appearances. You can see the front,
and he
the back, from his open
Listen.
expanded wing to his wings coming
Listen.
down, and to him being up carried. Oh my God.
Or he owned it.
came
Oh, he did.
through.
Yes.
Yeah.
He came through.
Yes, he did. And Zendaya, you know, the one thing that I loved about the Cinderella is because we all know she's a Disney actress. She comes from the whole Disney world, and I just
We
love.
totally all knew that. Yeah.
And her dress was designed by Tommy Hilfiger.
Oh.
And I love the fact that she was Cinderella. Okay, she was
Yeah.
Cinderella,
That
and
is
she
cute.
and she kept her nice, you know, quaint, and I just loved it.
And
I
it was
just
a
loved
2
it.
sequence. If you guys got to see
Yes.
the sequence of her, where it didn't light up, but come ball time,
Yes.
it lit up, and she became in this, you know, the more enchanted
Yes,
princess.
yes.
And so that was what you guys see here up on the screen is capturing her in her illuminated gown. Or more
Did
pink.
anybody else get carried in like Billy did though?
Oh.
Well, Lady Gaga. Lady
And
Gaga
what's her
had-
name was
There.
assisted in
Yes.
Who?
Katy Perry. She
Yes.
came as the chandelier.
Yes.
Oh, that was
that was kind
They had to
kind
help.
of weird.
They had to help her out. Yeah.
Somebody needs to help her out, all right? Because that was kind of like, what in the world are you doing, sis?
But you know what? After Billy came through, it was like
He stole the show.
he did.
fan me,
He,
boo,
he,
fan
he
me.
really did. He stole the show.
Yes.
Well, I think they all did a fabulous job.
And you got
all
Kim
of them.
Kardashian up there.
Yep, Kim Kardashian.
I can't see
in a
from
theory
here.
Mugler dress.
It
She
looked,
just sent it to us.
I sent it to all you guys there in the.
Okay.
Yep, so you guys can get a.
it looked like she naked, or
Right.
or is it the
Right, she's supposed
an
to be
illusion.
Very
dripping wet.
form-fitting.
Mhm.
Yes.
Very form fitting.
You know what? That's not impressive to me. That's kind of like the
Well, they're playing the whole Kim Kardashian role up. I mean, she herself is just this entity of sexiness, of, you know, something that
Okay.
kind of exudes that. So
It's
mine,
okay.
yes, because of
Not my idea of
well,
sexiness,
well,
but
the
okay.
way that a lot of
Mhm.
the way that she has kind of been portrayed.
She's definitely
You know,
the mainstream.
Very
Yeah,
voluptuous, you
yeah.
know, the big busted, the big
Mm-hmm.
ended, you know. So and then she has the big doe eyes. You know, she has a very good facial structure. So it's great for you know a lot of people to look at her, and so for them to see, you know, just to kind of play on it more, dripping wet.
Listen,
Yeah.
I don't have anything wrong with her.
Yeah.
Like, she's cool, but that's not my idea of
I hear you.
sexiness.
I
So
But you know she's gonna go and let him dress her. That's what you want to put me in. I'm gonna go and wear it.
Well, she paid for a lot in her
Yeah, I
lifespan
know.
right now. So, hey, I guess she has to come through. I don't know.
okay, and on that note, yes.
Right.
Well, thank you guys for being able to see what they got. They got so many other dresses out there, so many other attire,
Wait a
not just
minute.
for
Who
women.
is this
Is
person?
that
But for
us
men as
on
well.
the red carpet? The squad, we was there.
Who's this?
I
Oh,
put us there because it is us talking about it. Yes.
Monet?
Yes.
I added it to
Janelle
it.
Monáe?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Shout out to Janelle Monáe for her outfit.
Oh, she came through too.
Yeah.
What
She
look like?
she had a eyeball
Oh
on it.
yes,
that
that
was
was the
very
half
impressive.
breed.
Yeah.
I call it the half breed. It's a half man, half woman,
Okay.
and it was a very interesting look because it's very symmetrical, and they played on the whole '80s, you know, off
And her
symmetry,
eye
okay.
winked. And her,
Oh, her booby
On her
eye
booby.
wink.
On her booby.
Eyes-
On her
Yeah,
breast. I'm
open
sorry.
close.
I'm
yes,
gonna
I
be
was
politically
thinking if that was
correct.
on my
her
booby, that'd be a
breast.
big old eye. I'd be like a globe.
Well, Cardi B, in all of her glory of red velvet, practically, had $250,000 of 2 red rubies on her nipples.
Wow.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah.
I'm gonna put that back.
I heard
so
about
they
her
can
nipples,
see
yeah.
that. So you guys can see that here.
I started thinking about
2019.
The rumors of the rumors of the nipples.
Ooh.
Very interesting. But Lady Gaga went to 3 different looks, from being over abundant in her fabric and then just stripping it all down.
It was wasn't she like crawling up the steps or something? Was that there? I seen some kind of clip. She was. I think she was.
Yes,
I
she
think
was
she
on the ground,
needed-
but
yeah.
she was in her in her 2-piece.
So shout out to the Beehive because we don't want the Beehive to come after us.
Yes.
We're not mentioning her.
No, but just to mention that a lot of these looks, Beyonce has
Yes.
mastered and
Beyonce did it first.
She did
Yes.
it first. She did it first. So
Good save.
I don't
Good
want. I
save.
don't want no problem.
Although it'll make us kind of famous, though.
No, I don't want no problem. I love you, B.
If they come after us.
It'll make us kind of famous, though. Think about it, though.
Any publicity.
Yeah, it make us
Any
kind of
publicity.
famous. You know, I'll be like, what's her name? The word the lemonade dress when they came.
The lemonade, yeah.
Yeah, they accidentally
I
came
love
after
how
her.
that flowed. Woo, that was so
She
good.
put on the lemon dress.
Yeah.
Yes, honey,
Shout out
yes.
to the Beehive.
All right.
Well,
so
I mean,
our
they came
next
after
subject-
Taylor Swift for just doing some college stuff after she did.
Okay, see, we're not gonna talk about that one
That's
The
another
interesting
show.
thing about
because
that
I
That's
had
another
my
show.
bees out. I had my bees out. All
The
right.
interesting thing about it all is that it really is what the fashion designer is coming with also for their muse.
Right. Yeah.
So in the end, they are all just the muse, unless
Yes.
they decide to have some aspect in. But I know B does get involved in what she's got going on.
Yes,
So
that
but-
is a queen.
Yes.
That's a queen right there, y'all.
But I think that's great. That's what we have for fashion.
But Mother Billy was the queen that
Oh,
night.
Mother
okay.
Billy. Mother Billy.
I don't even think the Beehive would really argue that.
No.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the Beehive with her new babies, where do you think she's at with vaccinations? Shoo.
Oh, that's a good segue. Because, I'm up here looking at my notes. I was trying to read my notes. That's a good one.
Listen, I'm gonna have to.
Because there
Yeah.
are very, very, very many parents out there that are just coming out of the woodwork and really just speaking on how the vaccinations are causing illnesses in their children. And then, now it's a mandatory thing for going to public school. So as a parent, I'm really interested to see what some of the celebrities' takes are on. Are they vaccinating their children and sending them to public school, other than the fact that maybe they can afford to maybe homeschool them, but that would be the alternative. And then getting into seeing what kind of homeschooling alternatives they have, because I was looking into that. They don't really have too many. They don't have too many for those as far as like alternatives for vaccination, the mandatory vaccination.
Right.
Most of the alternative for homeschooling option is for children who have been acting up in school, truancies, and things like that. I think they really need to start taking a look at maybe homeschooling as an option, as an alternative for those who can't go to the public school according to the mandatory law. If they can't go, that means that they have to be schooled somehow, and if they have to stay at home, what is it and how is it that they're delivering that?
Right.
Well, I have a son that has autism, and so that's a whole nother story for me when it comes to the vaccines, because a lot of us parents, mom of autism children, our complaint is for them to take another look at the vaccines. That sometimes causes that. So that's a whole nother issue, a very personal issue for me as well. Another thing is all 3 of my children were part-time homeschooled as well. My husband homeschooled our children and still is. This summer they will be homeschooled as well. But homeschool has very much come under tact. And I don't really want to too much get into it because I don't want to cause a big scene, but a lot of the school districts are not for homeschool.
Right. Exactly.
And there are
the
issues where they're
That's the
trying
issue.
to either fine
Yeah.
the parents
Right.
or say that the parents are not credited
Right.
Right.
to teach the children.
Yes.
And then there's like a whole new tax thing that goes along with it that we had went through with homeschooling your children. Also, the public school would. Okay, so basically, you have up to 5 years to vaccine your children.
Right.
Okay. And if you want to place your children in public school and private schools too, charter schools, your children will have to take vaccines. Now, there are some parents that they can work around it with certain,
There are waivers. Yeah.
but
But that's only for certain things. So,
Yes.
But
Yeah.
anybody who falls outside of those parameters, why don't they get that option? That's where it becomes that controversial issue.
yes.
Because
Yeah.
they should still have that option. If they see that what the medical industry tied in with the with the education industry, community now are kind of banding together to say now in order for this to be provided to you, you have to do this and do this, like and that kind of just says like we have to just accept that. But if we start to see, like, say for example, we got a new mom coming up soon and has never had kids, but she's starting to read all the studies and she's starting to see like firsthand somebody's child got affected, like the baby wasn't like that before the shots, but then after the shots something would happen, and then they start reading up on things, they start getting educated. Now they're an advocate for their child to not have vaccinations because they don't want to deal with illnesses and sicknesses.
Well, I think
but then they're denied an education.
Even aside from that, like that level of it, you know what I mean? It's just about basic rights. Like we're supposed to have certain rights in this country. Right. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a major broach on our constitutional rights. You know. So.
And and just coming from a medical perspective, because I do work in the medical fields, I think that the vaccinations and the effect of neurological conditions are not just a vaccination issue. Right. There's other issues such as food, climate, environment, et cetera, and so we can't just say that it's vaccination and it's just an isolated situation, because I think it's different. Even with homeschooling, I've seen the effects of parents who didn't even finish, 5th, 6th grade, but they're trying to homeschool their kids. Kids go through several years of being homeschooled by this parent who just, not that they don't love their child and don't want the best for their child, but maybe they're not educated enough to provide that outlet for their children.
Yeah.
And so what?
I can tell you something for that.
So what happens is the child is homeschooled. It's not working. The child is not at a grade level. They say, okay, it's overwhelming. It's too much. I can't handle these the criterias and everything that is expected of me as a homeschooling parent. They transition the kid back into regular school, and then the regular school I don't want to say regular. I'll say the typical school systems can't even reach the kid because they're so deeply and profoundly behind. Right. And furthermore, the social skill element is not there.
Yeah, the coping mechanism.
Sometimes they're far ahead in the education because depending on what the parents actually teach them. But the social skills is a very big issue.
And I could speak on that.
And I think that we have to remember that our situation as an individual doesn't speak to the entire situation, and everybody's situation is different.
Yes. Well, I could definitely speak on that. Having 3 children, one child is going to be 16, and us homeschooling them. Now there's so many open ways to homeschool your children. There are teachers that are online. There's classrooms that are like up to 6 children online with the teacher that learn. For my child, the middle one, because he has autism, we had to part-time homeschool him because he was not getting all the services that he needed to have. For our last child, he's 7 years old, first grader, but he's in the 2nd and 3rd grade class right now. Because we started homeschooling him, believe it or not, when he was 2 months old. We started teaching him sign language. We started teaching him how to, even when he was crying, we was teaching him certain things. But I do agree with homeschooling, there does come a point where the child has to be socialized with other children. Another thing you brought up about is when children are acting out or they're, I don't want to say bad, but
we don't want to say they're bad.
They're not responsive in class, and then they go into homeschooling. That's not always a great way as well. No. For me, being a parent homeschooling for the past 16 years, I honestly believe that homeschooling should be a substitute for a child's learning, because oftentimes
versus being the alternative.
Yes, because oftentimes in the school, a child is not getting the one-on-one that they
Right,
need.
right.
And a lot of times just having that parent just sitting there with their child extra 30 minutes, an extra hour, that parent might not be fluent in education because
Right,
my son does
right.
metaphysics. I have no idea what the heck that is.
Mm-hmm.
But just by me sitting there with him and him doing his lessons give him reassurance.
Right.
It
right.
gives him that extra little cushion that he needs. So we could look at this a whole different way, but every single parent should be spending quality time with their
kids.
children,
Yeah.
doing whether it's
You're the
homework.
first teacher anyways. If we're back to homeschooling,
And
you're
you
gonna
learn
be the
stuff
teacher.
too. Because
Exactly.
I didn't know
Yes.
anything about
You-
the black
yes,
hole in the
you
universe.
learn lots.
So
Right,
I was like,
right,
it's
right.
I was
Oh,
like,
that's
is
the
that
question?
real?
Let me get
I
that
thought that was
for
only
you.
on Star Trek, but it's really real.
Right.
So the
right.
so the question may not necessarily become the fact that kids need to be homeschooled, but the question needs to be how are parents including themselves in their child's education
Right,
in order
right.
for them to be successful.
Absolutely right.
Because no one, and I'm gonna tell you, I told y'all last week, I'm the mama that's the I'm the pop in the snap crackle pop because I pop up, right? And my daughter's 17. She's probably watching. She know I was up there last week. That's probably why I ain't got no job because I gotta go patrol my kids.
Man.
But the fact
That's
remains
Yeah.
that if you're not encouraging, supporting, and motivating, and being receptive to what your child is learning on all levels, then there's no way your child can be successful.
Yeah.
But I think that in any education system with our kids, there has to be a concrete plan between the educators and the parents.
parents, yeah.
Because at this point, I don't know, I think I did that talk show with maybe Jerome. We spend more on the California Department of Corrections
Yes,
and prisoners
education.
than education.
Yeah.
Like someone who is incarcerated or criminalized can get somewhere relatively maybe $150,000 per year.
Yeah.
We only spend $12,000 per year per kid.
Which is
And
why
that-
they're so adamant about them being in class.
Right.
Yes.
And then situations like you were saying where you have a second and third grade teacher combined.
Yes.
Well, they're combining
Yes.
the classes because they don't have the
the-
resources.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's
Teachers.
problematic.
Yes, very,
Yes.
very
And it
much.
shouldn't be our issue as a parent that the school doesn't have the resources. The
That's
school's responsibility and or job
Mm-hmm.
is to have the
And
resources
taking
for
it
our
to
kids.
the state and to the city and the state levels where they are
Yes.
funding more of the incarceration situations than they are for
Yes.
the education system.
problematic.
Yes,
you
and,
know,
and that's why parents like us have decided that homeschooling is a better way for our children to get to absorb learning.
So, I've been thinking about this, and I've thought, okay, we have charter schools, we have public, mainstream public schools, we have the alternative of a charter school, we have homeschooling. You know, I don't know what the situation looks like, but I kind of think, okay, the medical world, they have home nurses that go out and do the home visits. Why don't they have more? And that can open up a whole new lane of educators, of people being employed and getting them out into the homes where maybe a child is going through and having severe anxiety and can't get out of the house for whatever the reason is going on at home. Maybe the vaccinations caused a turn in things, and then there was a situation where that was necessary, but it would allow the education system to continue reaching out and parents working one-on-one with the educators. It just really solidifies, I think, a little bit more if they're being able to employ more, really looking into putting more money into the education system to be able to open up these avenues, because we have to reach our people, reach and teach.
Well, I think, there's the whole school to prison pipeline.
Yes. Oh,
You know what I
shout-outs.
mean?
Yep, shout out to
So
Angela.
I don't feel there's an incentive for them to change that. You know what I mean? I think like we as community members need to start implementing these programs ourselves because they're not going to.
Right.
And I want to invite everyone who is listening and tuning in, and even us as community activists and organizers, introduce ourselves to the LCAP. It is the Local Control and Accountability Plan. Every school district has it.
Okay.
Introduce yourself to this LCAP, because in the LCAP, you will see for yourself where all the money is being designated, or where all the money. You know what,
and
my
that's
friend?
for every district?
Every district has
Wow.
it. Every single school district in this whole entire nation is called the LCAP. local accountability. What was I say? Local accountability.
Local control accountability.
Yep. This plan is not private. It is very much so a product of the community because it shows where all the money is streamlined. If you want to know why something is happening, follow the money.
Yes.
Follow the money and find out where these fundings are being designated. We talk about having more teachers as excellent idea. I love that. But the reality is that a lot of school districts do not fund enough teachers. Some schools are sitting up there with 20, 30, 40 people in the classroom.
I know that's right.
So how is this teacher supposed to provide excellent services for our children if we're not ensuring that the school districts are actually funding classes and not administrative costs?
Yeah.
You know, why are some of these school districts running around here with 6 or 7 different administrators? They're getting $300,000, $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right.
And the common teacher's salary is probably like
45.
45,
50,
50,000,
maybe.
right? And then they got to tolerate 30,
Their own
40.
costs.
Right.
You know?
They don't have any costs for supplies. Where are the costs for the
And
programs?
that's probably going down to
After
preschool.
school programs are being cut left to right.
Don't
The
forget about
arts,
the
arts and
lunches.
Oh,
entertainment,
yeah,
the lunches.
the lunch
are
programs.
ridiculous.
And children
So, yeah.
learn differently.
What can we do
Children
about that?
learn differently.
Yes,
all the
everyone
children
is
do
different.
not learn the same.
That's right.
I could go
I'm a
on and
hands-on.
on about that.
I know. I'm a hands-on
And
learner.
also with the school, they have to take a look at the school because they have the children on this curriculum where they only learn in like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
They take a test and then
Block
they move on to
schedules,
something
yeah.
the
else.
block schedule.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like falling through the crack, and they fall through the crack, then they'll be on that prisoner
Pipeline. And,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
don't care.
and it's, but
All they
again,
know it's a dollar figure, and the head wasn't in the class, and so now that they're not in the class, all we need to know is why, and you need to make it up on Saturdays, and if you're not there on Saturdays, then
you getting expelled.
yes.
And that's why a lot of parents have decided, well, we'll just do it ourselves.
That's right.
And you know, and a part of me wish that the homeschool was a lot larger, that it was more supported, because there are parents that need support. There are single parents that are homeschooling their children.
Right.
There are grandparents, there are aunties. There's even groups that
Right.
homeschool.
You
like
are
they'll
so
have
hitting the head.
one
The
parent
I was
head.
just
that
having this
homeschool.
conversation.
Yes.
Yep.
Not even just in regards to school, because I used to work in a group home,
Just
and
on
it's
the
like
conversation.
they'll take kids out of the home for all these things, and yes, it's a poor situation, but why don't you try helping that situation
Yeah,
at home
help the
instead of
parent.
just removing the
Yeah.
kid? Because putting them in a group home isn't a solution either.
But I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna get right back to that LCAP
Yes.
because I think that we can't enable school districts to not do the job. And so when we're pulling our kids out of these school districts, we are enabling them and not setting the standard that they need to be accountable for what their job is, and that is to provide services and an education to our children. They get paid for that. They get funding for that. We need to be following the money. We need to be present at the school board meetings and asking questions
Holding them
about
accountable,
and holding
yeah.
them accountable about where the funding and services are. You know, a couple weeks ago there was a conversation where they wanted to cut the parent incentive programs
Wow.
at a local school district.
The
And
parent incentive program?
yeah, so that's the programs that are out there to educate parents on
Right,
how to
right.
be more
I know, that's
effective
what I'm saying.
parents,
Like,
right?
Why would you want to cut the parent
Right.
program? The parents need to be
Right.
taught and
But
educated.
right, so we can have
Absolutely.
899 comments being angry at a situation, but when it's time to hold someone accountable,
We're not doing it.
when it's time to go in and ask the real questions about
Right.
where the money is,
Right.
there's crickets.
Right.
So, you know,
Maybe they don't know what to do.
well,
What can you guys do? What do you guys think you can do?
show up to the
Yes.
meeting.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
So
And know your rights, your
Shout-
children's rights.
shout out to my mama. If I need to
Shout
divulge,
out,
she
Juanita.
she sent me an email earlier. There's a State of Our Youth Community Forum next Saturday, May 25th.
Southside.
Yep.
Yeah,
Southside.
12. Nonprofit social justice All-Star Collaborative and the San Joaquin County Youth Council will proudly announce their youth manifesto, a collective groundbreaking pledge towards equity and resilience for our area's youth. Sounds great. I'm very optimistic about it.
So show up,
Yes.
show out, ask
Show up
questions,
with questions.
get cards, take names. That, one thing about me, I'm telling y'all, go and ask questions and hold people accountable. Empower yourselves. Especially, this is a crisis right now.
No,
right?
it is.
It really is because when kids, education is a platform to our everyday functionality.
That's right.
If we don't have, and I'm not saying that everybody has to go get these 4-year degrees or whatever,
Right.
but even having the access to knowing how to read and write
It's
Right.
the basic
and do
essential
right,
skill.
the basic
Right.
essential skills
Yes.
of life.
Yes.
If we are not holding our schools accountable, whose job is to do that, then how are we going to be mad and
when
any
our
of the
society's all busted
consequences?
up.
Well,
Any
they
of the
don't-
consequences that come for that?
They don't make it a priority. And so like
But we as parents would need to make it that priority.
well, see and that's why, speaking from the community I'm from, that's why most of the parents just decide to go ahead and homeschool for themselves, because of all of this that goes on. And homeschooling, English and math and all that. Homeschooling is about arts
Right.
and music,
Right.
and creativity, and teaching your children, about certain types of
Well, then morals too,
Yeah,
like your
exactly.
beliefs and
Mhm. Yeah, so there's more that goes into homeschooling than just that. And the reason why I said that we now part-time homeschool our children is because of the social
Right.
part.
See, and I don't have any kids yet, but I'm just now leaning away from, yes, I'm gonna have to homeschool my kids. Like, I don't even want them in the public education system. But the only thing is the socialization.
Yeah.
You know what I
When
mean?
they reach a certain age, they do need that. They do, because they have to understand. This is the thing with your child. They have to understand how to obey the laws, and they have to understand
Authority.
that my way is not the way. They have to grow up and be socialized and assimilated in our
Right.
culture.
Yeah, green
That
light
is
stop
that
is
is
go,
a fact,
red light
because if
stop.
you don't do that, then you're going to be raising someone that's very
Out of control.
egotistic, and I know this
Yeah.
and I know that. And they might be book smart, but they might not know how to hold a conversation or how to even just have a commonality with someone. So, but homeschooling, I think every parent should be involved in it, because like I said, it's not about math and English. My daughter
you can
does
tailor make it. to
my
what-
daughter does
help them
piano
grow.
at home.
Yeah.
She does music at home. My son that has autism, he does his science projects.
Right,
My younger son, he does his metaphysics and his science and his math at home. So it's not that you have to take them through the entire thing, but you can give your child something that's going to give them a jump start for the next year.
Right.
And I think that should be embedded in your everyday family system anyway.
But I have
Because
to say something though, because not everybody embeds it in their family system. Because when we go back to the parents who are broken and the parents who don't know totally how to parent, and then their skills, it takes a lot of effort for them to even get to that point. So the education system, it really needs to reach deep, not only just with the kids, but for the parents. And now they're,
Well, that's where the programmings that are being cut. That's the scope of that. Those are the
Right.
scope of those
Right.
programs to teach parents how to reinforce. Because even if you're not
I agree.
embedding like the incentives of like the music and the arts,
Yes.
at least embed the structure of reading 20 minutes,
Yes.
Right.
doing your homework,
And-
having a space for your child
having a
to
space is
actually
very important.
Yes.
do their homework, because
I don't know if they still do it, but when I was at Head Start, they had people come out into our homes, and I remember
there's
they would
home
come.
do that
Yeah,
first
they'd
five.
come
Home
and show
visiting.
my mom
Yeah.
different crafts to do with us,
Yes.
and like.
But a
yeah.
lot of those programs have gotten
That's what I'm
cut,
saying,
too.
yeah.
A lot of those
That
programs
was 30 years ago.
are
It's
non-existent.
so interesting that you
Or even
ladies
algebra
are all
for
speaking on
algebra
this.
for parents. They
because-
don't
Yeah.
even have
Yeah,
that
the
anymore.
core.
Algebra
Right.
for
The
parents.
core.
Yeah, for parents
But
to learn how to do.
The- yeah,
That's
yeah.
been going on, and going back to my roots and really seeing like what it is now. And I've had some time to think about things and really getting into the community. But for that reason, going back to the taking Head Start guidelines that I used to work with, and the fact that you not only go out to just teach these children, but you are going out 4 times a year to work with the parents. You're going into their homes, and you are doing individual education plans, not only for the children but for the parents. So I recently just started a parent group, and basically it's single parents who have children and need to socialize their children because the children are at home.
Yes.
They're not in the education systems at this time, and or if they are, for some reason, they seem to be home more than they are at school. So basically having, and then I kind of find the parents are going through things themselves.
Yes.
So it's kind of a way to socialize the parents
Mm-hmm.
and to socialize the children, and to really start to open up what conversation even looks like this child, to look at your lips, that you're making words and sounds and directing, and then learning how to like communicate with others, so these children are able to have those kinds of interactions, and the parents are able to see another aspect of their child and learn their child in a different context, to say, no, that's okay, let your child do that, because watch, he's going to learn or she's going to see, and they are going to work it out. So allowing parents to get comfortable in their children's learning as well.
And that's excellent, because it also affords the parents to build relationships amongst themselves, to reinforce those skill sets between one another as parents.
right.
Now, one thing that I will say about education and poverty, my grandfather grew up in poverty, and he grew up at a time where blacks weren't even allowed to know how to read and write.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so he taught himself how to read. He did not have a college education. He was not educated. But I tell you what, people will always say, you're very well spoken and you read really good and you write really good. I say, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Because I'm going to tell you why. Because my grandpa would knock my teeth outside my head if I wasn't reading and writing and, building these skill sets that he knew I needed to be, again, it's not about just going to college.
Right.
We
Yeah.
need to reinforce these skill sets as parents on a continuum basis, because if we don't, then we're going to be sitting here talking about the pipeline in prison,
Right.
because it's real.
Right.
Well, with
That
all
just
this
gives
going
me
on,
anxiety.
I know.
Because I have 2, like you
Boys.
have, boys. I have 2 black sons, and I have a son named Juan, and he's black. So
that's wonderful.
that's like a double whammy. I'm calling Juan, and they like looking at it like. So yeah.
Natalie Cruz says, "Hi, beautiful people. Salute, ladies. Thanks to being a
Hey,
former teacher, I'm
Natalie.
allergic to everybody's kids, but Kim's." More power to you.
I know. And
My kids are grown.
my son, Sir Kingston, loves Natalie. He's so well spoken. He says, Natalie, Natalie, I want to go to Natalie's house.
Oh, shoot.
So since we're talking about choices and rights, let's mosey on down to dun 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 dun.
Right, more rights.
Women's rights.
Yes.
Woo.
We say woo now, but while we're over here being upset because people are trying to tell us that we can't do certain things,
Man.
please stay out and mind your own business.
Okay, so here's the thing, and this
We should have tea.
I just,
Sabina, where you at?
I always just
For
wanted
real.
to like go back in the past and just figure out where did this whole thing start, that the man is in control.
Yeah.
That the government in
Exactly.
written law
The
that
man-
has
the
no
man-
feeling or no motion.
Yeah, the man in the government is
Exactly.
involved.
A law.
Exactly. Like the women is just not the species to have
Okay.
any kind
Like,
of
hello, we're
control
standing in your
or-
face. Hello.
Like nothing. Like we have hands and feet and just like, I mean,
Yeah.
Where do we start?
So let me set the narrative. I want to set the. I did my homework. Let me set the narrative.
Oh my goodness!
Let me set the narrative.
Dum, dum.
So
Where's the hand clap at?
wait, where's my camera? Because y'all know I got. Okay, where's that right there?
You got 3.
All right,
You got
here we go.
3.
Yeah.
Oh, I got 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywhere. over
So the state of Alabama just passed the most restrictive abortion mandate in the history of the United States.
here. Mm-hmm.
This law is set to go into effect on November 1st of this year,
Mm-hmm.
They're reversing it.
right? But they are, appealing it. So this particular law disallows abortion in the state of Alabama on any level, whether it's rape, incest, or whatever.
Or non-consensual or consensual.
Right.
Okay, so
And
if
wait,
say
I'm
it's
not
a
even finished.
medical condition and it's at the life of the
And
woman,
age.
and she can't have, and
At
she's
any-
saying I can die because of this pregnancy, like I can't have an abortion because I have an
Epitoc.
Oh,
Right.
they want to remove those and reinsert them in the womb, which is a
Okay.
whole
Ectopic,
other
ectopic.
thing.
Pregnancy.
on any level,
Yeah.
and
On any level.
and furthermore, doctors who perform
Yeah,
perform an abortion could face life in prison.
That's a threat. That's a threat right there.
Georgia, Ohio, Kentucky, and Mississippi just passed the heartbeat bills. Any woman as early as 6 weeks who have an abortion could face the same consequences, because after 6 weeks they consider the fetus to have life. And in these states, well, Georgia in particular, that state mandate will go into effect in January 1st. So I laid it out.
I just have to say
I laid
this.
it out.
Okay, they say that at 6 weeks they have life because there's a heartbeat. Go ahead and have that, birth that baby. Birth that heartbeat and see if there's life.
Right?
Yeah.
Birth that little heartbeat and see if that really is going to just live on its own. No, that's not a fetus. That's not a human being. That is at a stage where if there is something seriously wrong, and that is not.
Well, see, I wanna stop you there, because I completely agree with a woman's right to choose, and like I was saying earlier, like your mom has the right to take your life. She brought you into this world. But that being
You heard
said,
that a lot, huh?
but that being said, I don't like would survive on its own, that it's not life, because it does have a heartbeat. So let's at least consider it for what it is. And that's what I was saying before. Is my opinion on this is, we as women, not only do we not have the right to choose, but we're not even educated on what the process is, because it is a life at that point. And a lot of people don't even understand what neurological things are going on at that point. You know what I mean? It should absolutely be the woman's choice. I think it should just be a more educated choice, and that narrative that it is just some cells needs to kind of lay back a little bit.
I think that one thing that I thought about in this controversial bill, this whole segment of the woman's right to choose, is okay. So I think I have the highest ranking here because I have 5 kids. So I have the highest ranking. All right. So look, I got the highest ranking.
I have older. My kids are older. I have a child older. Does that
But
count?
nope, because I have 5. I'm
still
taking the
got
rank.
5. Yeah, she got 5.
I'm taking that crown right now. I'm taking that. That's my crown. That's my crown. But I will say this. This is one thing that I felt like was so misogynist in this process, is when a woman is pregnant, okay,
It's a beautiful thing.
sometimes it's a beautiful thing. But let's be real. Sometimes pregnancy tests can misguide you
Yes.
and have you believing that you're not pregnant.
That's true.
Right.
And so, does a woman really fully know that she is pregnant up to 6 weeks?
Right.
No.
No.
When I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, my pregnancy test continued to say negative, 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 negative. But I had really bad symptoms. And I remember admitting myself into Kaiser because of my really bad symptoms. And it wasn't until I had the ultrasound
Right.
to prove that I was pregnant. And then at that point, I was 12 weeks.
Oh wow.
So
Almost 20 weeks.
So in this case, when women, because we know that women underreport
There's a whole
rape,
Discovery
right?
Channel show called "I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant."
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
People
oh, yeah.
having babies
Oh, yeah.
didn't know
That
they
had
were
right.
pregnant.
babies
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, with that being said, we know that when women are sexually molested, traumatized, and raped, there's a high percentage of chance that that woman is not even going to report that.
Right.
Because of the shaming, the victim shaming that comes along with that. And so to say that you have, at 6 weeks is a done deal, that's crazy. Like, who even makes this stuff up?
Right.
That after 6 weeks, no matter what the circumstances, whether it's a medical condition, whether it's incest, whether it's rape, whether it was anything, you have to have that baby. And or, so there's like the conspiracy theories, like, or you can flee to another state that gives abortions. I'm like, really?
But then when you come back,
Oh, yeah.
I
Well,
have
and then
a whole
how many
nother-
people don't have the money to flee to another
Yeah.
state?
They can't even get to the doctor
Right.
appointment. So how do you?
I have a whole nother take on this. I am pro-choice. And I do understand people that are not pro-choice. So I do understand both sides of it. My thing is the aftermath of all of this, because we could debate on if it's a life, it's not a life.
Right.
Right.
What about the aftermath of having this child? What does the welfare reform looks like for
Right,
this?
right.
Okay.
Right.
What
Yeah.
does the education system looks like for this? And what does the medical look like for this? We can't even get free medical services in this country. So you're telling me that I have to have a baby that
Gonna
you're
cost me
not going to
$10,000,
have
right.
me.
That you're not going to help me
$10,000
take
a
care
year.
of.
Also,
Yeah.
let's look at
Right.
these
No.
states that are doing this. Look at the states. These states are clearly old Confederate states
Yeah.
that is doing this. So,
Well, Ohio, though, I don't know.
and
they
a
came
lot
out
of
they
these-
came out the cuts
and
with
a
that.
lot of this
Yeah.
is based on religion. A lot of this is based on beliefs, the belief systems, which we try to argue and say that religion is separate from state and laws and
But
things
it's
of that
not.
nature. And they
it's
take
supposed
out
to
the
be.
they take out the 10 commandments. And they take out the prayers in school, and they don't want you to say God, they don't want you to say Christmas, they don't want you to say Easter, they don't want you to do all of this. But then at the same time, by placing something like this, it's just, and I also think about the stem cell research as well.
Yeah.
How does that fall into it all?
Well, if you can't get an abortion and you have these babies, then you're opening up a whole nother portal of looking into stem research. That's a whole nother issue. But for me, my thing is the aftermath of it.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
we're saying
'Cause then
no abortions, have these babies, but when the babies get here,
You
then
can't
there's a
have welfare.
problem with supporting the babies and giving the babies medical. We just talked about the school system and
Yep.
the school
You better have
system
these
And
is
maybe-
babies
broke.
maybe
and then
that-
pull
that
yourself
was
up by your
a
bootstraps.
rape baby or
Right.
something.
When
and
you
that,
ain't
and
even
that
got no
woman really
boots.
didn't
Right.
want to have that baby, so now it becomes a ward of the state, and now we have more people just in the system.
And you know what? So
And then
Chef, you brought up a good
the
point.
child
You
support
brought
too.
up. Oh, we don't even want to talk about that. Have the governor of Alabama is 74 years old, and I'm not here to age shame her at all, but disconnected is what comes to mind. Out of touch, disconnected, and totally unbothered about this situation.
She ain't been able to have kids.
No,
How long?
probably had. Yeah, she's probably working on greats.
Right.
Possibly at this point.
Right.
And so we're talking about the government establishing laws and rights for women. We no longer have the ability to control what we want to do or what we don't want to do. And, I'm going to talk about the aftermath. What
Dark
about the
ages.
aftermath and resentment of the woman who has to have the baby of her sexual predator.
I
yeah.
know, that's right.
Or either having the baby by a man that you was trying to have a baby by. He's like, I don't want it. They get to walk away.
Well, or how about the women who have to
they
have
get to
the
walk away.
who? How about the women who have to have the baby of their abuser, who's also their cousin,
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
or the baby who's chronically medically compromised,
Yes.
that will have long
That
life
you know
medical.
already after looking. It's
Right.
yes.
And the baby will have long life medical complications and stem within a system that won't even provide medical coverage to you.
Absolutely.
That part.
Absolutely.
So what is it
And
that
some
they're trying to
states
say?
don't even provide
They
WIC.
want to keep them trapped. They want to keep us trapped in these systems because they extort us on these levels of okay, now you have these fees that you have to pay because I told you so. Now you have these fees that you have to pay in order to insurances and just all of these things. It's just another hold for extortion. I find.
Well, and like what I said with the vaccination thing, regardless of what
So who holds them accountable?
right, regardless
That
of what
part.
your personal opinion is, it's a direct conflict of our constitutional rights. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what your
Human-
personal
basic
beliefs
human
are,
rights.
we have a way that this country is supposed to be set up, and you know what I mean? Like, that's where it comes
And
for
we
me.
have the right to use technology. We have the right to use and to be part of everything that is in the benefit of ourselves. And as a woman, as a mother, as somebody who understands my own medical issues, another female understanding her own medical issues and what that is, her financial situations, her home life situations, that is her decision. And by all means, if all these government systems who are sitting there taking it away from us, how dare you? How dare
Well,
you?
and then let's dig deeper. Let's talk about the stage that this will set. So you have a total of 6 states that are passing these laws.
Right.
So what's going to happen is that there's going to be lawsuits and injunctions. So what happens with that? It goes to the federal court.
And who's in charge of?
And who's in
these
charge
laws?
of these laws. So if they're unsatisfied with the end result because you have the conservatives and more of the progressives, then it gets to the Supreme Court to finally make the ruling. So once it gets to the level of the Supreme Court to make the final ruling, guess what? This now makes case law for the
The
whole
entire
Yep.
nation.
United States of
The
America.
whole nation.
You heard it live and first on the squad because that's exactly what's going to happen.
Another
This
thing
is going to set
happen.
precedents
Precedents, yeah.
of a whole lot more.
All this. Yeah.
It's not just about Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi and all that.
Honestly, though, I would be hugely surprised if it actually passed in the Supreme Court because, like I said, once you look at it, like but the thing is, those states are very religious. Like we've already
The
said,
Bible
they've
Belt-
already,
Bible Belt
yeah,
area.
they
Yes.
The Bible Belt.
always pass radical laws like that never make it. I'm the type of person that believes anything that the media is super pushing is kind of a distraction for
opposite,
something
yeah.
that's
Yes.
really going on.
Right.
So honestly, I'm willing to bet this gets overturned at this next thing because it is so ridiculous.
Well, not only that,
know?
too. Look at what's going on with all the women's rights, the women's push, the women empowerment, the women movements. The Democratic Party is all
And
about
that's
the
probably
women. Their
why
front
they're
runner
doing it.
are women. You know, they're really trying to put this to where maybe would they pass it now so that they can come in and overturn it.
Yeah, and be the
Exactly.
Be
saviors.
like, oh, we changed it because we're women, and now we have. Yeah, maybe you're right.
was never
It
with
could
Hillary.
Definitely be something.
Right.
That's a possibility.
But
And
let's
it's gonna be a whole
the
lot
fact-
of less.
but let's look at
Yeah.
who is on the Supreme
I want to
Court.
say
Right,
this
the
real
fact
quick.
that-
though.
So
that part.
majority of the
Are
people
women.
who are on the Supreme Court are conservatives.
Yeah.
So with that being said, their views and their morals and their values are going to align more with conservative. I mean, look at this. John Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh. We've heard that name before. Samuel Alito, Stephen Brewer, Ruth Ginsburg. She's pretty progressive.
Yeah.
Sonia Sotomayor.
Sotomayor.
Yeah. Elena Kagan and Neil. I can't even think of who. can't say his name, but all conservatives. So their ruling is going to shape the next phase of this country. And there's no more. So with these Supreme Court justices, when they rank and when they make their ruling, that's it.
Yeah. I want to say this. I've been trying to say this for the past 10 minutes.
Well, you
but I was going to say that this is going to cause a lot of sexless people. I mean, because as a woman in those states and as a young woman, I want to know, like, are they going to, like, restrict porn? Are they going to, like, are they going to be heavier on sex trafficking? Are they going to be more heavier on strip clubs? I mean, there has to be the aftermath of this, because people, regardless of what you say or do, people are going to have sex one way or another. So how, I mean, like, this is really something we have to think about. Are they going to increase or decrease sex education in the schools? Are they going to still hand out free condoms? I mean, what
I'd be willing to bet they already don't. They probably already preach abstinence in those states.
And remember,
you know, like,
and remember with,
and Georgia is one of the highest states for strip clubs.
Yes.
And sex trafficking.
And they got the
too.
craziest ones.
Yeah, and sex trafficking too, on top of all of that. And a lot of the sex traffickers, they bring the girls to certain places so that they can get the abortions, or they can get the pills, or they can get the shots. So now the aftermath of this is going to be even more
They're
crazy.
Be a whole lot of black
The
market.
plan
I'm gonna tell
B,
you
yeah,
that.
plan B on the black market is going to
market.
be.
And any doctor
hot.
or physician who may have fallen away from doing the actual medical practice will probably find a lot more money underground than they would struggling to get these insurance companies to pay something that they want to find a discrepancy so they don't have to pay nothing for.
or well, let's even dig even deeper. This now the doctors are at risk for going to prison for lifetime.
That's what I'm saying.
They're looking at life in prison, and so
ridiculous.
I'm looking at it more at the back, you know, the whole co-hanger situation
Right,
where
that's the
people were
first thing that came to
giving,
my mind.
were conducting abortions
Black
on their
markets,
own.
yes.
Or putting using seaweed as well.
So now we're looking at women putting their lives in jeopardy because they're feeling hopeless and trapped. And so this is very compromising. And even with some of the current mandates, now they're trying to defund Planned Parenthood and establishments and health clinics that do act on a preventative. Their funding is getting axed and cut. And so you're not going to have the sex education and the preventative courses that people can take so that they will not get pregnant. So it's a double-edged sword.
Or like he was talking about, that more educated on deciding to have an abortion or not, being educated on it, or learning that there are women that have abortions and can no longer have children after that.
The lifelong consequence of that.
Right.
For some odd reason, I have this uneasy feeling that they want these women to have these babies for more test subjects.
I just said it's STEM research.
For more test subjects, and the fact that a lot
But I mean, that can be said for having abortions too, because that's what a lot of people say is why they're pushing that.
The birth controls,
So,
but to lower the estrogen and and like increase testosterone, so it's changing like women's bodies. What are those effects on those fetuses thereafter? Maybe they're starting to look at the different things that they are wanting to test with, maybe the vaccinations, things like that. So it's very interesting. Why do they want them to have these babies?
Well, and then I think another point that we have to make is that people are choosing not to have kids any longer.
Yes.
Because
my daughter's 26 years old.
Nobody can afford to raise kids. Nobody can afford this high ass, medical insurance.
The cost of living. The cost of living is ridiculous.
Nobody can afford the cost of living. Nobody can afford. So I mean,
my
seriously.
daughter's 26 years old, and most of her friends are 27, 28, 20, 29, 30. They are nowhere thinking of having children.
I know that's
Not
right.
even on.
Yeah, my mom
the-
finally got
no.
the hints. Like she used to. I'm 30. My brother's 28. My sister's 26. They're both married. My mom finally got the hint to stop asking us for grandkids.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Lick.
Natalie Cruz, shake my head. The year 1822 wants its laws back.
Okay.
Wow.
Man,
That's deep.
You know.
What else? So my thing is, if they win this, or if this goes through, what else? What's next?
Well, we have yet to see, and hopefully we get enough people out there to stand on these front
like I
lines.
said, I'm interested
Stand
to
on
see
these
if
front
this
lines.
really,
Get
really
into these
comes through
books.
like
Make
that.
these changes. Stop these changes.
If it, I'd really like to address this again if it does. But I feel like it's an election season. Like you
Vote 'em
said,
all
they want to get their candidate in, and now they got us riled up.
If they do put
That's
the prayers
right.
back in school, put the 10 Commandments back up,
That's putting religion back into.
but they're putting
politics.
religion on this. This
In
is
the
based.
Right? No,
this is
yeah, I feel
based
you.
off-
Right? Like if you
Yeah.
do that, then you might as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
If you
a
do
very
that.
good point.
Then we can say Christmas again,
That
right?
is a very
Exactly.
good point.
Exactly. We
Because
have
if-
Christmas
yeah.
break instead of winter break.
If they are creating laws on the basis that somebody has a religious saying that, hey, I'm going to abstain from participating in that or doing that,
Yes.
the doctors can say, hey, it's against my religious preference. And if they want to include things like that, then,
Yes.
that does kind of beg the question of why maybe we should take another look as to if they want to put religion back into. But then that creates a whole issue in and of itself because whose religion? It's whose religion? There are many religions.
But
and
America is based on Christianity.
however,
America is based on
However,
if my
open to
ancestors
more.
had to accept it,
Well, but if we're talking about people having the right, we're talking about people having the right. I would rather see them put in some more services. How about some more opportunities for people to have affordable care in health services? How about that? How about improving the education system? So you want to talk about, let's do some population control or whatever the case need be.
Right.
Let's do some social services control.
there we go.
So with that being said, because we can talk about this all night, y'all, let's talk about common.
Let me get out of my feelings real quick.
Okay.
Because
You got 5 seconds.
No, I'm good. It's just that, that topic is, me coming from the homeschooling, the vaccine situation, then to the women's right, just kind of,
Got you riled up.
Okay.
yeah.
Take a sip of water.
Yeah. Got some water left. I'm out of water.
Exhale.
Some water. I need some ice water.
Some crushed ice. So
Well, we
common.
got this. Yeah.
Let's talk about common,
was it
y'all.
Imagine Freedom?
you guys got a concert
Imagine.
coming up in Stockton. Oh my goodness.
Imagine Justice.
Imagine Justice, June 7th in Stockton. It's going to be
Imagine
Friday,
Justice.
June 7th at 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Stockton Memorial Civic Auditorium. This is an Imagine
Y'all got y'all
Justice.
tickets yet? It's free.
I did.
I think it's sold out.
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep, you have to RSVP.
I got 4 tickets.
There you go.
Maybe I'll give 2 out or something.
Okay, so the common concert.
Hoarder.
We all talk.
Okay.
Y'all didn't get tickets?
No.
Okay, then we will have to talk.
Well, you did not know. You guys had to RSVP, and
Wah,
those
wah,
were to
wah.
RSVP Eventbrite for free tickets. They are sold out. So Common, the first rapper to win a Grammy, Emmy, and this is coming from the Stockton Record. They wrote an article on it May 15th, and I think that's pretty much when the announcement kind of came out and let everybody know. But he's a Grammy, Emmy, Golden Globe, and Academy Award, and his nonprofit Imagine
J. Cole,
Justice,
too.
will host a free
Just read that.
community concert for the city of Stockton. It's going to be 6:30 to 9. You guys can see it there, and it's posted for you guys. Paul says he got his ticket. Nice. And basically, the Imagine Justice concert will include a program dedicated to empowering audiences to be agents of change to help build a brighter future rooted in equality, justice, and compassion, celebrating the courageous and inspiring leaders and organizations making a difference in the community and providing audiences with an unforgettable and enriching evening of live music and more. so the doors open at 5:30. It starts at 6:30, and partnering with Imagine Justice is quite a few organizations out of Stockton, and that does include the City of Stockton's Office of Violence Prevention, Advance Peace, Rise Stockton and With Our Words, Fathers and Families of San Joaquin, Stockton Scholars. So it's quite a few.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
So you guys get out there, and if you can't get in, just hang out outside. I don't know if y'all ever been to concerts, but I used to do things like that. If I couldn't get in, you still go to the concert, and you just hang out
You
outside.
can meet me at the parking lot.
Right. You never know. Like, you just might find
You
a
never
way
know.
in.
You never know.
But Common is no stranger to Stockton. He was
No.
here a while back.
Yeah.
He had visited the
UOP.
juvenile detentions and UOP as well. So he's been here as an activist before. It's just exciting to see him now come back in this way. It's really excited about that, yes. And then also about his new book. He has a new book out, his new memoir, One Day Out, It'll All Make Sense. And he talks about a lot of things in that book. He talks about his relationship with Erykah Badu and how they're such great friendships, their friendship now. He also talks about his childhood experiences, and how it took him so long to connect with certain things that happened to him in his childhood, and also why he's very, very concerned right now with violence. And in his music, if you've been a fan of Common before, he often talked about that. He was at the White House before with President Obama. He gave a concert there.
I do remember that.
Yes, and he was very, very open about violence, and especially with violence with minority boys.
Yeah.
And so he's very, very advocate about that as well. So it's just really, really good to see him coming to Stockton in that way.
And my 2 cents about Common, I do want to recognize that he is not only a rapper, but he is a philanthropist. That's what I get for talking about Chef. She the one who did it. She tried to say rapper. I was like, he a philanthropist. He a philanthropist. He is an advocate. He was recently on The View, and he talked about the stigmas of mental health.
Yes.
Even talked about his own struggles with anxiety. Shout out to him on ending the stigma of mental health.
Yes.
And recently, he also talked about his experiences with being a victim of childhood molestation.
Oh, wow.
And so I really, 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 really commend him for that.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can see him.
Yes.
I'm with you, Colin.
Yes. And timing is everything. Timing is everything. Strategy is everything. And I honestly believe that this is something that he's been wanting to do for a long time, that this is a story he's been wanting to tell. But of course, he's in the limelight. He's a superstar, and he, probably just had to wait for the right time. But I'm just so happy that now the conversation is open on so many different levels. You're talking about mental health and all this, because a lot of men don't talk about these things.
Absolutely not. It's such a stigma. And so I know that he is not only leading the charge in that. I know that Big Sean just came out to talk about his struggles with anxiety. Ariana Grande has set the pave. Taylor Swift has talked about it. But I think that for individuals who are struggling with emotional distress, seeing a celebrity, especially a male, is like
and a strong
rapper too,
a strong, powerful male. That helps normalize that it is okay not to be okay, as long as you're doing what you need to do to take care of yourself through self-care and receiving treatment. Like that is significant. So
and being a minority though too.
Because
that's like
and a man.
Yeah. So, but shout out to Common. We're looking forward to seeing him coming to Stockton. I'm definitely looking forward.
Come through into the squad. Common, we love you.
Yes, come sit and talk to us.
Okay.
Hey, dreams come true.
Listen,
dreams come true. They come true.
Holla at your girl. I will give you 6 free sessions. Just holla at your girl. Hey, Renee, where's your funny? That was hecka funny.
I
Where's your
know.
funny?
What's your he gonna be a tutoring you on your rap skills so you can win that rap
too.
battle.
You know what I'm saying? MC Kim on the microphone.
Yes, that would be hilarious. Yes.
So we got mixed
Quick
metaphors
poker.
coming up. I just want
Next
to say
weekend, next
mixed
Saturday.
metaphors.
Right on.
Since y'all MCs all the
That's
time.
right.
Look.
You guys
Mud-
wanna come
right.
out now?
Mudville
Look.
Tattoo, 127 West Harding, right next to Jack in the Box on Pacific and Harding. Y'all know where that is.
I'm trying to think.
You have macaroni and cheese?
Please come on
One
down.
of these
macaroni
days.
cheese.
One of these days, man.
These freestylers who want to come out, encourage them on. Come on out. We got some producers, new producers in the house with new
Freestylists of any genre. You don't have to be a rapper. You can come out and sing if you want to. We encourage it.
beats. We
Spoken
have
word artists.
Friday mornings, coffee with Kimberly.
Coffee with Kimberly.
Yes.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. You get a coffee. I even make it for you and a nice snack. And just a disclaimer, it's not all day with Kimberly because I have people
Right.
who they're like, oh, damn, like, hey, I do
Staying
got
all day.
90 minutes.
Right.
90
I do
minutes.
got a job, y'all. I love y'all, but I do got to work at least sometimes.
Y'all got to move along.
Yes.
Move along.
Right.
Yes, and I am working this summer. I am booked up, and that's it.
Hey. Ain't nothing wrong
But
with that.
she'll be back at y'all in the fall.
In the fall, be coming back in the fall. Just listen. I am a
Look for
woman
her.
that wear many hats,
Yes.
and sometimes you just gotta pull it back
Listen.
and do what you need to do so that you can do what you need to
That
do.
part.
Because we
Right.
can't be running raggedy out in the streets.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? We can't be doing that.
Right.
The
So-
struggle is
yeah,
real.
so you'll
It's
see
so
me
real.
here at the Voice of San Joaquin. You'll see me with the squad still. You'll still see me doing my radio show. But listen, we have to be responsible for ourselves and take accountability for ourselves.
That's the word of the day.
And also, as women who wear different hats, we also have to know when to pull back.
Say
We
that
have to be
again.
honest
Yeah.
with ourselves.
Self-care,
You know?
self-care, self-care.
And again, I can't be running these streets looking raggedy. So it's just like
I
that
heard
sometimes.
that.
So I encourage anyone right now that if you feel stressed out or if you feel unmotivated or if you don't feel encouraged, take a step back. It's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Just step back a little bit and do your thing, do you, and then come busting out. you
Right.
know?
Alignment over hustle.
That's right. That's right. And I definitely want
Shout out Andrew Defy for that
a
one.
lot of you
Can't
guys,
take credit.
parents, and a lot of our youth. If you guys have teens, latchkey kids that are home during the 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock hour, and maybe you guys aren't able to be there. I'm hoping to work some things out, but for the most part, there's going to be a teen concert. It's going to be it's a teen turn up.
Oh, wow.
I
And so
saw that.
Basically, it's going to be for the youth so they can come out. They want to grow up so fast.
Right.
They want to grow up so fast. They want to be in the party scene. They think it's so cool to do so many things.
We
and it's
all
just
did.
like, yes, exactly right. So I know that, and I'm just like, okay, well, I know they want to.
Yeah.
They want to party. They're getting into it. So I would love to invite you and to talk to your children about this event. It's a free to the public event for the youth to come on out and to be able to learn to socialize together, to be able to have a good party environment. There's going to be a bar that's set up that is going to teach the youth how to order clean drinks because they're becoming young adults. So you guys have a nice little bar, dollar drink. So they're going to have like a Roy Rogers, which is like Coke and grenadine. Shirley
Right.
Temple,
What?
grenadine, the grenadine cherry flavor.
It's a mixer.
Cherry
It's a
liqueur.
mixer, right?
It's a mixer.
It's just a mixer. So basically, what it is when these youth grow, the bar scene's never gonna go away, but they can learn how to be in control of what they consume. They don't always have to take a drink, and they can learn how to order from a bar without, ordering something that's kind of lame.
I just know Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple, right? 7-Up. And so it's just for them to come out, have an experience, and see the youngest rappers in Stockton. These
Yeah.
are the youngest rappers, not just in Stockton, but in the 209 area. And if you guys have any other younger rappers younger than these guys, the youngest one being 7 years old, the headliner is 13 years old.
Wow.
We got a 12-year-old, and we have a 11-year-old. One from Modesto, coming out from different counties of the 209. But basically, it's for you guys to enjoy yourselves. Adults are going to be there just like chaperones and make sure everything's good. But it's going to be a kid thing. You guys have fun.
When and
enjoy
where was it?
yourselves. It's going to be at the Teen Center, July 19th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So the Teen Center is actually still going to be open. The doors are going to be open, but during that time, we're just going to have a little teen turn up.
Oh,
That is
nice.
so
Nice.
cute.
Little summer-
I really love
little
that
summer
for our youth,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of times people talk about not having
Anything to do.
anything to do,
Right.
especially for our teens.
Yeah.
Like, and this is teaching them how to be constructive and good
Well-behaved,
citizens,
yes.
well behaved, and teaching them everything that we talked about when we talked about setting the mark and setting examples of being good citizens. Giving them a skill set. Love
It's
it.
okay to party. We party, and you can party right.
And go home.
Party
and go home
responsibly.
safe. All right, you guys. Well, that's been the squad with Ronee.
Chef Tobias.
Kimberly Wormsley.
Chaz Day.
And that's it. We're on the voice of San Joaquin and Stockton.
Yes,
All right, all
yes.
right.
That's
You-
it, right?
Have a good night,
I
y'all.
think that's going to be it.
You want to
for
get some
us.
shout outs on the
9:30.
yeah,
9:40.
too late.
What up, what up,
Shout
what up,
out.
what up? It's Joseph
I don't
Apex.
get it.
Rest in peace, Jay Dilla. Hip hop forever, baby. A-P-E-X. Okay, it's my time. What I got? 3 minutes. That means you have 180 seconds to kick it like soccer balls. Double yes, y'all. I do this for the love, unconditional. Let's start with my city.